Can hear him coming. There's something about a clip clop, isn't there?
Yeah.
Huge feet.
Isn't he beautiful?
Stand, yeah. So there's a Clydesdale, isn't there? That you see Budweiser ones. They're Clydesdales, but are they British? And what make of horse is he? So what's the breed name of the horse?
This is Shire.
Oh, a Shire.
Yeah.
Would be is that the same as a Clydesdale?
So Shire is original. So the Clydesdale is heavily based off the Shire. It's just obviously bred in a different part of the country. And if you ask who's better, which part of the country, we'll obviously say it's Shire.
Yeah,
so
Shire.
Get you started.
And how?
Hello everyone,
Hello.
this is George and he's our residential Shire here at BlistsHill. Now George today is standing at 18 hands high. Now how we measure our hands is from the base of our hooves to the tops of their withers, which is the highest point in their body. Now it's one hand on top of each other like so, and they're roughly about 4 inches wide. So George here today is standing at about 6 foot tall. So George is 16 years old, which is about middle age for a Shire, so he'll hopefully go until he's 25 or 30. I'll be harnessing George up in a single cart harness today, and this is George's collar. Now George's collar is primarily made up of leather, and it does have a wooden frame in it to hold its shape. On the inside here, ours is leather lined today, as it's just an easy material to wipe down after he's done his work. And it can either be leather lined like so, or cloth lined. Once again, on the other side, we've got these 2 big metal bits here, which are called our hames, and these can be either solid brass or solid metal. And they'll be taking the brunt force as George's strength today, so they have to be quite strong. Ours is solid brass today. And our collar is actually padded with rye straw, which is quite commonly seen as our bedding nowadays. Now due to how tall George actually is, he is taught to bring his head down and put it into the collar. Now George's collar is actually upside down today, and the reason for this is if we were to put it on the right way up, it would bang his eyes in his eye sockets and he wouldn't be too pleased with us. Can you go back for George? Go back a step, George. George, so it's stubborn. Come on, that's a little shot. It's not actually going back, is it? Thank you. George is definitely not awake enough for this demo today. So just spin it round on the smallest part of his neck, which is just behind his jaw, and it'll sit just before his shoulder here.
He knows what he wants, doesn't he?
Now on the other side of George, he has a lot of hair or mane, so I'll lift his collar forward and move it out of the way so it's not pulling as he's working today. Next are our tug chains, and these attach onto our hame hooks here. Just the same on the side. And our tug chains today will be attaching onto our shafts. Our shafts are 2 long wooden beams that run the length of George and have 3 hooks on them. So this will be attaching onto our first hook, which sits roughly about here on George today. So the way our tug chain works is it will attach onto that hook, and as George walks, he will push into this collar. This chain will tighten and pull the vehicle along for him. Saddle, and as you can see, it doesn't have a lot in common with a riding saddle. The only things it has in common is that it's here to protect George's back, it sits just behind the withers, and it has a girth. Now it attaches onto our collar by what we call our meter strap, and this is just to hold them both in place today.
The bottom of his mouth.
I think the noise you can hear
And due
is...
to no one actually being sat on this saddle, our girths don't need to be anywhere near as tight as a riding girth. George does like to make them look a little bit tighter though. Boy. So as I said, our saddle here today is actually here to protect George's back, and it's protecting it from a big back chain. So our back chain is already attached onto our shafts and we'll be attaching onto our second hook of the day. So it'll sit here up in this gully and it will hold the shafts up as he's working today.
So there's a chain to hold the shafts up and a chain to pull, look.
Next is our britching, and this is essentially our brake and our reverse of today. And it's just going to be sat up here on George's hindquarters. And that is not as graceful as I could have done. And it just attaches onto the back of our saddle by another strap here. Thankfully George is done growing, because this is a bit difficult. So just go through, make sure everything's sat on him properly and nothing's tangled up. And we untuck his tail so he can go to the toilet if he wants to. Now this is our britching today is attaching onto our last hook of the day on our shafts, and it will be sat just about here on George. Now as we ask George to woe stand, his hindquarters will tense like so, bringing the vehicle to a stop. Now if we were to ask him to reverse, he'll push into this britching, tightening this chain and pulling the vehicle back for him. So George has to be very strong as he is taking the weight of the vehicle for us. Next are our reins, and as you can see they're about 3 times the length of normal riding reins. Now the reason for this is they have to run from 3 points on George and all the way back up to our driver. So it runs from point on our saddle, point on our collar, and we'll attach onto George's bit when he has it on. It's just the same on the other side. Come on over, George. Then with this little bit of excess we just hang it up on our hames so he doesn't get caught up in it. So George is actually voice trained, so he listens to G back for right, come here for left, and we'll stand George for stopping. Our reins are just there to tell him how fast and how wide we would like him to take the corners, and if we needed to do an emergency stop. Not that he goes anywhere that quickly. Next I've got 2 different types of bridles here. I've got George's open bridle, which he will be working in today, and I've got our blinkered bridle. Now our blinkered bridle was more commonly seen in the Victorian era. It's still quite common today. It's up to preference what you drive your horse in. George has been trained from a very young age to be in an open bridle, so that's what he gets worked in. So the way that our blinkered bridle works is it sits here and it just covers the eyes, so they have to focus on the work that's going on in front of them and not what's around them. Now George is a little bit nosy as well, so he likes to have a good look around. So he likes to have a good look around at everybody, don't you? George's bridle here just has some nice thick pieces of leather from the cheeks, and I'm just going to hang it here. And this bit here is called our Liverpool driving bit. Once again, it's up to preference what you drive your horse in. George likes the bit, so he gets driven in the bit. Where our bit sits, yep, you've got to show everybody, is in a natural George. Can you show? It's in a natural 2-inch gap in his teeth here. He can eat and drink with this bit in, and it's very comfortable for him. As I said, he likes it, so he gets worked in it. And the way that our bit works is our reins will attach onto these hoops here, and as we ask him to either G back or come here, we'll give him a gentle tug telling him how fast and wide we would like to go. George unfortunately isn't doing the horse bus today, just as it is having some maintenance done to it, so we're unable to give rides. You're more than welcome to come over and say hello to him. It's just on his head or his neck for me, as he's got a bit of a tick in his tummy.
Oh dear.
You're very dramatic.
Oh.
Got a little bit of a tickle in his throat.
Oh, poor George.
Feel free to ask any more questions as well. He will be out later this evening in our delivery dray, just going around Top Town, so feel free to say hello to him then as well. Are you done with your little cough? Yeah? You're done? Okay,
I've
cool.
never seen a horse cough before.
George is very dramatic and coughing. Usually it's just a little one, whereas he just goes, oh.
And how heavy might he be?
He weighs just under a ton.
Just under.
Wow.
With the amount we feed him, I think we're aiming for a ton. Not that he weighs much, is
Lovely.
it? Yeah.
Such a picture of him. Such a good boy, isn't he?
He's brilliant. Standing on 3 legs. And he changes his foot around, look. Yeah, look. Just taking the taking the weight off his back right leg. Now he's back left
So
leg.
George is officially done growing. They will grow until roughly about the age of 7. So they'll constantly keep growing until the age of 7. So he thankfully finished growing about 9 years ago. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can sort of, he oozes power and strength, doesn't he? Oozes.
So fully fit George can actually pull up to 4 tons. And when we have our pairs set, obviously double horses, double weight, so 8 tons and things like that.
Wow.
So they are quite powerful animals.
Because even this looks really heavy that's actually on him.
Yeah.
So this, hello George. Hello George. Oh, not today, okay, no problem. This is what actually pulls it then, that's the pulling, the throttle.
So it's a little bit of a common mistake that people think they push,
Yeah.
well, pull the cart along, sorry, but it's actually more of a pushing motion for them because they are obviously walking forward and pushing into the collar, and then the chain's actually pulling it along.
And then the shafts are sitting here on over the
Yeah,
top,
so
which would
they'll-
be the
they'll have
saddle.
back chain in there,
Yeah.
and it'll sit in the shafts and things like that. So when we're putting them in the vehicle, you'll actually see all of that as well.
And this is the brakes.
Yeah, so technically George is our brake, because as we ask him to stop, he'll take the hindquarters naturally, and that will just, the chain will stop the vehicle from hitting him and bring the vehicle to a stop for him.
So this is the power, the shoulder is all the power. Hello George, we're just talking about you. Hello.
George is actually quite evenly built, so he is all the power. So some horses you see that they're more forehand heavy, so they're more on their front half and they're more powerful that end, but George is very evenly built, so he uses his body correctly.
Wow. All right, George? Hello. Wasn't that just fantastic?
I love that.
Yeah, we love that.